Praise 96.5 WMGY, Montgomery's inspiration station, and home of the Community Connection with Keshia Bates.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Community Connections at Praise 96.5 Radio. I am your host, Community Relations Coordinator, Keshia Bates, and this is Community Connections. Today, I have the pleasure of bringing you great information from Habitat for Humanity. I have with me Mr. Cedric Varner and also Mr. Scott Gregory, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves and tell you their role in Habitat.
Cedric, please go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Bates, for the opportunity. Excited about the chance to be on Montgomery's Inspiration Station. And we just wanted to introduce our Executive Director, Scott Gregory, with Montgomery Habitat for Humanity, doing great work, and want to just tell you about the Ministry of Habitat and its vision and mission for the region.
Yeah, hi. So thanks, Cedric. I'm Scott Gregory. I'm the Executive Director at Habitat for Humanity. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the mission that we provide or that we have, we provide low-cost, quality, safe housing for low-income families in the Montgomery County area. Okay, and we've done that in this community since 1987. During that time, we've served over 85 families. We have a couple of developments in the Montgomery area where we have multiple Habitat homeowners together. And then we have a few locations throughout Montgomery and Wetumpka where we have individual homes in neighborhoods, right? But if you're familiar with Habitat, the central idea is that everyone deserves a decent place to live. And so we are very focused on finding partner families in the Montgomery community that meet the financial criteria that we're looking for and meet the partnering mindset that you have to be part of the Habitat community. And by that, I mean that if you meet the financial criteria, and I'll let Cedric speak to that a little bit more when he talks about the orientation process, but if you meet the financial criteria, we start moving you into a process to get you to a home where you, family members, friends, contribute 400 hours of what we call sweat equity to the Habitat mission. And part of that mission is building your own home. It may be working on your neighbors' homes or other homes that we're working on in the area. It may be volunteering at the Restore. You can also get credit for educational classes we have around homeownership and financial management. And then last but not least, if you have children and they're good students, you can even get credit for their grades in school. If they're making A's and B's, you get a certain number of credit hours for that. So it's a good process. We have a great number of existing partner families in Montgomery that I think would tell you some really good things about their experience in the program. And we are looking for additional families to join our mission.
Now, for my viewers, can you just explain what you mean when you say low-income families? Where can they find out their eligibility or the requirements that you all need to see if they can be a member or qualify for the service?
That's a great question, and that's part of what Cedric goes through in the orientation session. So Cedric, I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah, so we've got people who will inquire about the process and what it takes in order to get in the program. And what we do is we ask them to give us a call. We schedule them for an orientation, and then we go through the numbers. What is the minimum income requirement, and then what is the maximum income requirement according to HUD guidelines. And so we're able to just kind of go through the details of what the criteria. It's really a selection criteria. You know, we verify what the need is for housing. You know, it is a mortgage, it is a loan, so there needs to be an ability to pay the loan, and then a willingness to partner with Habitat. So we go through all of that, you know, when they give us a call at 832-9313.
But just to give you a little bit of additional detail, and thanks, Cedric, I think that's a great overview. To answer this specific question, Ms. Bates, we target families that are at 60% or less of what Housing and Urban Development defines as the median household income in Montgomery County. So you may need to mute, Cedric, get a little feedback. But so to give you a sense, for a family of four, that puts their household income at around, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cedric, around $36,000 a year, right? And
right, 39.
So $39,000 a year for a family of four. down to, I think, around 18,000 for an individual.
Right, 19.
Yeah, so, and it varies in between for, families of varying sizes, and it can go above the $39,000 if it's a family that's larger than 4 members. So that's part of the process where we have to work through with the families individually, and Cedric goes through that. So you test the income levels, but it's also making sure that your credit and your financial situation is in line, so that as you move into the responsibility of home ownership, you are able to make those mortgage payments and put some money aside for the things that go with home ownership, some repairs, et cetera, as you go through the time. So we'll look at debt to income ratios. We'll look at, kind of the existing debts you're carrying now, potentially any collections you may have. And there are some pretty stringent ratio guidelines set by Habitat for Humanity International that we follow. But that's all part of the orientation and the follow-on sessions that Cedric goes through with the individual families.
Now, I understand that these are 0% interest mortgages. Is that correct?
That is correct. So Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit Christian ministry, and so that's where the ministry aspect kicks in. That Habitat is not charging interest. There is a 0% interest rate for it. And as we've talked about before, we know that our mission is to leave an inheritance for our children's children, and so that's what the opportunity is for Habitat. And so we're able to go through those details. One of the things that Scott talked about is debt to income ratio. So when we meet, we talk about what is the amount of debt, what is the amount of income, and what does that leave as far as paying your bills. And as he also mentioned, credit education, financial education. It's really also financial empowerment information, so that we know how to proceed into the future.
What can my listeners do as far as getting in contact with you when the orientations are held? How can they find out about that?
Well, just give us a call, 832-9313. We do have a website that's that's habitatmontal.org. We'll be glad to set you up for orientation. We're scheduling those weekdays at 10 a.m. and at 1 a.m. And so we're trying to be sensitive to, the schedule that people may have for work. And they just give us a call, and we'll be glad to set up an orientation.
I heard you guys mention something about sweat equity. Can you just explain to me a little bit about what that is and what it entails?
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
Sure, I'm happy to take that one. Sweat equity is really focused on giving back to the mission and giving back to the community. And it also helps build a tremendous ownership mindset with the homeowner families that we're putting into the program. So the largest piece of sweat equity includes hours working directly on your home. And that's a 100-hour requirement. And then the remainder of the 400 hours can come from different sources. Like I said, you can have friends and family help to put in a certain number of hours. You can work on other homes that Habitat is either rehabilitating or building. You can work at the restore. As I said, you can go through, we offer educational courses, right? So we offer courses in financial management, kind of homeownership expectations. There are a variety of courses that we offer. And as you take those courses, you also get credit for sweat equity hours. So we try to give the homeowner families a number of different options that will enable them to earn those hours. What you should typically expect out of the process is once you've gone through the initial orientation and screening that Cedric does with you, we move you into the process. It's typically about 18 months from the time you start that process until you walk through the door of your home. And we have a dedication ceremony, right? Some people have done it much more rapidly than that. They're very, very focused on getting those hours done. And some people, it takes a little bit longer. But I think we try to let people know that around 18 months is a good expectation.
Being a Christian-based ministry, the important thing that I'm taking away from this is giving back. You want to help your fellow man and other families become homeowners just like you want to see yourself do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our motto is we build homes, communities, and hope. And, we try to show God's love through everything we do. And so I think that purpose, really permeates everything that Habitat for Humanity does in every location where it's operating, but certainly in Montgomery.
I appreciate you gentlemen giving me this great information to share. Once again, Mr. Cedric, I'd like for you to give the website and the telephone number where my listeners can call to see if they qualify and see that this can be of help to them.
Okay, once again, Ms. Bates, thank you for the opportunity. Thanks also to Praise 96.5. And the phone number is 832-9313. They can ask for me, Cedric Varner. The website is habitatmontal.org. We'll be glad to, let you see there. You can reach us through the website also. We also have a Facebook page. You can look for that. And we'll be looking forward to hearing from some of your listeners.
Mr. Gregory, can you just give some of your locations?
Yes, I was going to say we would also be happy to see you in person. So we're located at 2216 East South Boulevard, which is almost at Baptist Medical Center. So we're kind of right across from that. Many of your listeners may be familiar with the Restore, which is also part of our mission. The funds raised through sales of items there go directly into supporting our programs. So I would encourage you to come by and, usually Cedric or one are here. If we're not, leave a message, and our staff at the Restore, led by LaTanya Duncan, who's our store manager, are always there, and they're able to help you and take information as well.
Thank you, gentlemen, so very much. That's Mr. Cedric Varner and Mr. Scott Gregory from Habitat for Humanity. And this has been another edition of Community Connections with Keshia Bates. We look forward to talking to you all soon.
Thank you, Ms. Bates.
Thank you. Have a great day and be blessed.
You too.
Thank you for joining us for the Community Connection with Keshia Bates on Praise 96.5 WMGY. If you have a topic or event that's impacting our community, email us at praise965events@gmail.com or call and leave a voicemail at 334-544-1389. That's 334-544-1389. Be blessed and have a wonderful day.